My name's Bill Mullen, an agronomist with Seed Consultants. Today, I'm here at a customer's farm in his shop right now, located on the Howard-Tipton County line. And I guess today is somewhat of a summary for some issues that we saw from this past spring that affected our yields. Pretty much the corn's already harvested. The soybeans are gone. There's some things just looking back. One thing is with all the water issues we had early on, it affected our stand. The other thing too, besides affecting the stand, it affected the corn plant itself as far as we saw a lot of crown rot this year. Those saturated waterlogged conditions really affected the base of the plant. We saw some disease that came through there. The roots were also hurt by that, and it affected the yield. There's nothing we can do with that much water comes at one time. We had some breaks in there where we're able to put our nitrogen down, especially side dress. We had some issues. So even though with the UAN it was stabilized, with that much water, it can never go ahead and protect that much nitrogen. We lost nitrogen, and it did affect our yields out there. It wasn't we didn't seem to have an issue at pollination time. There really wasn't much tip back. Ears were filled up. They were small ears. And, everybody knows we need nitrogen for grain filling. And this year we lost a lot of it, and it pretty much hurt some of those ears from filling out like we normally like to see. So, overall, water really had a big issue. The other thing, too, is we went through a dry spell there. It seemed like it affected our fuller season varieties of soybeans as far as filling out the pods and that at a time when we needed the water and that. So too much early, not enough summer. Yeah, some issues did affect our yields. On a positive note, harvest went a lot quicker this year than past years. Everybody knows that we had some hard driving, packing rains. We had some compaction or so out there. As soon as the corn was harvested, the beans were harvested. Farmers went out here in Indiana, northern part of Indiana, central, southern part of Indiana, went out and did field work. They were able to break up that compaction and that, okay? The other thing, too, is that when we go and work these fields, we had left a lot of areas that the soil's exposed. And so when we go into our wintertime conditions, we get those freezing to below freezing conditions and temperatures. It's also going to work on the ground. So overall, we're looking at probably a lot better soils that we're going to be able to work with for the spring of 2016 when we set our crop. So yes, we had some issues from Mother Nature early on. We are able to have, some people were able to have some very good corn and very good beans, and where we had a lot of the water early, we struggled. We only had to average the below average yields in that. But 2015 is behind us. We're doing things right now to try to take care of some of those issues so that we have a better chance for a better stand early on in 2016, as well as a better harvest and yields in fall next year. This year, as we could see out there from out in the countryside, a lot of fall tillage work was done, helping to break up some of that compaction in that top 4 to 5 inches and that. There's another way of doing it, and it seems to be with a lot more success and a little broader aspect, and that's using cover crops and that. A lot more cover crops are being planted pretty much after wheat. Some are doing it, taking a chance and trying to do it right after the crop has been harvested, if it's been harvested early and on. Especially for no-till, we're seeing a lot of rye that's going down, and as well as some of these winter peas, looking at turnips and that, and the radishes and that. These are different cover crops that are going ahead and helping establish good roots to break up some of the soil compaction, at the same time scavenge the nutrients there that are left over in the soil, and then later on, when the plant dies or the tuber dies or whatever, and that, those nutrients will be released back to the next year's corn crop and that. And we're seeing some benefit out there, especially with these compaction issues we have. Also building up better soil health in that. Our earthworms seem to have a lot bigger population, and we're seeing benefits there. The soil is a little bit more loose in that with the use of cover crops and that. And that's what we need to have in that. So, you know, there's one thing about this is that what we're trying to do is try to improve the soil tilth at the same time while we're trying to raise these 250, 300 bushel corn and 70, 90 bushel soybeans in that. You know, those are your potential, but we also need to try to take care of the soil. Cover crops is a means of doing it. And that rye is very good. I will say a thing about rye, besides in a cover crop, that trunk with its roots, breaking up the compaction, you know, rye will also, when that plant dies in the ground, it will secrete a toxin that inhibits the germination of giant ragweed seed in that. So we're seeing some benefits there also for the terms of weed control early on from use of the cover crop. So there's more than just one benefit of using cover crops. There's several in that, of which they all seem to have a benefit for our customers today in using this. Big thing with cover crops is, and I tell people, is that don't do every farm. You know, try a field 1 year, or 2 fields 1 year, rotate it throughout your whole operation in the years to come in that, and we'll see some benefits, some changes, positive changes in the way our soils are in the years down the road. There's different purposes out there for cover crops. And I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of people that seem to go for the 4, 5, 6 ways combinations for the cover crops and that. Really, we don't need that, all right? Just make it plain and simple. There's literature out there that's going to tell you the purpose, the value of the cover crop, whether it's a scavenger of nutrients, whether it's one that will, you know, break up compaction, one that will take care for the erosion in that. You know, the literature's out there, and from that literature we could select the cover crops we need and just put together a 2-way or no more than a 3-way combination out there. The big thing is we don't want to get a lot of money involved in when we plant our cover crops in that. You know, I know some people that have got a combination there that went, I think it was $47 an acre. That's too high price. All right, we don't need a product like that, a combination like that. Just something simple. We can break up compaction possibly. We can scavenge the nutrients. We can protect not having erosion in there. Something just plain and simple that'll probably run us somewhere between, you know, 12, maybe no more than $15 an acre in that. And it's going to be money well spent in the long run. One thing, especially after this year, that we've seen is that after all that rain early, we went ahead and it turned off dry. And we went a period of 6 to 8 weeks and that, and came at a time when the corn was pollinating. And with those high temperatures, no water, a lot of stress on that plant. Now we really wondered, you know, about is there something out there that we can really, you know, have part of our operation to try to protect that plant from pollination time all the way up to harvest and that. For the past several years, we've been using technology called Aquamax. And with Aquamax, it's basically keeping that plant healthy from the time the pollen shed, all the way through grain filling time, all the way to harvesting that. It's keeping the plant healthy in that. You know, some people use fungicides to try to do that. A fungicide will respond, some plants will respond to a fungicide, some won't not. We have a hybrid that's done well here in Indiana. It's SCS 1094 as an AMX or a YHR. We both basically have refuge in the bag. But it's this genetics that has this Aquamax technology. It's natural bred, it's not a non-GMO in that, but it keeps the plant healthy under stress from tossing time all the way to physiologically maturity in that, okay? Really, when you look at some of the third-party trial results coming from Purdue, coming from First, coming from local strip plots we have on our customers' farms, SCS 1094 has been a very good hybrid for us for the past 2 and as long as 3 years in that. So, but I truly believe that that Aquamax protection during that critical time from pollination all the way to maturity that is within that plant and helps that plant try to attain that high yield, and we see that with 1094 and that. So Aquamax technology, especially in areas when we go north, up there, the Peru, Logansport, some of that sand, some of the gravel areas there where we have some really stress type conditions, or over here in the Kokomo area, or down there at the Greensburg, Indiana area where we've just had some stress conditions. Consider hybrids like the SCS 1094 that will go ahead and give you that protection naturally, but at the same time also give you high yields. 1094 AMX or 1094 YHR, just want to consider for next year. The results have been true, very consistent over the past years, and the best people to talk to find out more information is from our local seedsmen here in the Indiana area. So call these people, or you can call the office and see consultants at 1-800-708-2676. They'll give you the phone number for your local seedsmen here in the Indiana area. And then last, just want to say that it was a very trying year for us, and that Mother Nature dealt us a lot of curves out there. We did our best to try to straighten them out, and also try to get away from this water, and that we've learned a lot from this, all right? But we've already taken steps to try to improve it with all the fall tillage work we're doing, as well as the establishment of cover crops and that. So in a very positive way, we are making things happen for the betterment of our 2016 production acres of corn and soybeans, and hopefully we'll get back to our normal plus yields of corn and soybeans.